Hello, YouTubers! This is National Master Luke Calhoun. I'm a nationally board certified teacher and a USCF chess master. And I'm doing a speed run using the Philidor defense and the Old Indian in anticipation of the upcoming release of my course on the Old Indian. The Philidor course is already released. And in case you're unfamiliar with the opening, basically you create a little pawn center and then you go attack, or maybe on the queen side. You can do whatever you want. The world is your oyster. So this is our general thing. My opponent is playing this very quiet system. So I think I want to just play d5 as fast as possible. Maybe I can just play d5 right now. Usually when they don't play d5, you just take in the center. And the problem here is that they want their bishop on this diagonal, not just like staring at the back of that pawn. Kind of awkward for them to do that. So I should be a little better already here. Okay, going to take off the knight. Ooh, that's a good move. I want to play h6, but I can't take back with the pawn because my rook will be... But actually, it's fine. Because they're not going to sacrifice a queen. They're not going to sacrifice a queen, are they? So, like, takes, and I think I'm okay. And this comes out here. The pin is obviously a little worrisome, but I think I'm going to be all right. And again, I'm kind of counting on that my bishop on c8 is going to be a little bishop better than their bishop on g2. My opponent's rated 2034, in case you can't read the rating. I know it's small on some screens, and they're coming in here. That's their goal. So when a knight tries to come in here against you, oftentimes you want to take it. But in this case, I do not want to open up that bishop. So we're just going to say no. No to the knight. Play g6. Block that square from any kind of habitation that they might have in mind. Okay, so they're moving things over there. They're going like all in on that king side of the board. That's fine. I'll just attack this pawn. Threaten to come in here. Maybe have it there. There's like a lot of different plans for the black knight here on c5. It's chilling like a villain. Ready to do some work. So, yeah, I would love to take out that bishop. Whoa. I did not anticipate that. What is going on? I'm suddenly very afraid. Can't I just take this? Okay. Oh, I see. The idea is that they win the rook at the end of the line. Okay, that's fine by me. So they play... Oh, I thought they were going to play like f4, e5 and like attack this. This move surprises me, but now I think I just play here. Okay, but then can I block the knight? I mean, seems like I can block the knight. Whether I want to block the knight, I mean, like, this also looks really good. And then I just take out the bishop and then take this knight here. And sure, they win material, but their king side is totally damaged. So, seems like I have more than one option. Let's go with this. This seems like the safest option, and then we can figure it out from there. Okay, let's just keep guarding my knight. Yeah, I feel like this is all very unsound of them. Let's move here, mainly to stop them from any annoying moves with their knight. And I have developed all my pieces. This is well guarded. I've survived that tomfoolery. Okay. Now this is a big question. Do I want to... The easiest is just chopping off that knight. But it is my dark squared bishop, and I played g6, so I've weakened squares critically around that side. And if I play here, they're going to try to burst through with e6. I think that's all right. But I am in great danger, and I can feel it. Like, I don't know where, I don't know how, but I feel like there's danger with e6, okay? Or there. Do I have any kind of... I mean, like, taking this pawn seems so brazen. But I don't see how... Yeah, taking this pawn, they take here. Oh no, then I just take that back. Taking this pawn, they take here. And then if I take this, they take this intermezzo. Maybe they can get away with that. Okay. So that is tricky. Takes. How did they play that so fast? Just like, so complicated. Okay. Is it so bad? I take that. Yeah, okay. Okay, I can't take. Let's just go here. I'll guard this bishop so that way I can move my knight and romp around in the future. I would love to like take here and maybe take here at some point. Yeah, I would also love to bring my knight back to the defense, because when you're being attacked, the key is to just get minor pieces over there as fast as possible. And given that I have 4 minor pieces and my opponent has 3, if I can just consolidate, neutralize their counterplay, the game is mine. And that's another reason to not grab the pawn. I mean, mainly grabbing the pawn because I'm scared of like e6 pushes, but in some ways the pawn is my friend because it stops the queen and the rook from just kind of rampaging down the e-file at me, which is a major source of concern. I'm very afraid of that. So I'm just going to use it as shelter. Just hide behind it like it's a bomb shelter and peek out at the white pieces. So when you've played like these pawns, your bishop becomes very valuable, and they keep upping the ante on taking the knight there. Okay, this is not threatened, but this pawn is. Okay. It's such a weakening of the dark squares. Okay, I have 9 seconds. I don't have time. I don't have the luxury to be playing around here. Oh my gosh, and I just dropped this knight. Okay, so we're back to basically even. But the nice thing is, even though I have 9 seconds, this position is easier to play. I don't know if that's true. I can't believe I just dropped a minor piece, but that's going to happen in time pressure sometimes. I'm going to just take off this bishop here because it's annoying me. I'll take this. Okay, attack this. This looks pretty even. Okay, maybe they have a little bit of an edge. I don't know. Defend that, attack that. Looks like they made a mistake there. They should play queen here and pin my pawn. They're not in time pressure, so I think they'll find it. Any moment now. Queen there's the only move. If they play rook here, I'll take the queen. So this is not going to work. They have to play queen here. So what should I do against that? I'll probably take this pawn. I can't take this pawn with the queen, or else I need my queen to guard h7 at all times. But this will renew the threat against the rook. And hopefully it goes away and stops bothering me. Yeah, they have no other choices. If they try to like trade, it's bad because I can take the queen and yeah, okay. And now I'm threatening the rook. I really am. This time for realsies. And I'm up a pawn. I expect stout resistance though. Okay. I just gotta like play moves quickly due to the time pressure. Maybe I could trade queens. It'd be nice if I could trade queens. I'd feel less stressed without the queens on the board. If they insist on having queens on the board, I'm going to just push my pawns a little bit and attack. Get rooks maybe on the 7th rank. Whoa. Okay, yeah. They're feeling the time pressure too. Attack that pawn. Here, there's no checks because my queen is guarding the diagonal. So that's why I go there. There would be no checks either. Yeah. This is tricky. Like, if they take this pawn, then you can queen sack, and then it's Nate like this. So, sloppy after the time pressure. It was a nice game before the time pressure. Let's keep rolling up the ranks here. These 2000s, they're good. Good. They know key aspects of the game. I tend to notice that this rating range, typically the in-games are a little worse, so maybe I should like aim for just in-games or something. Should I play d4? No, let's just pretend we're playing an Old Indian again. e4, d3. This is one of my favorite lines against the English in my Old Indian course. And it's a very familiar pawn structure, and the cool thing against Sicilian is people never know what I'm doing. They're just like always confused. And so they just they just kind of like develop their pieces and then they get into a worse position because this is not in their theory books. So castle. And so with this knight here, so the general rule is that the knight comes here in the Sicilian, you attack. If the knight comes here, then they have f5 to block the attack, but they're super weak in the center. So you come up the center. And you see, if the knight was here, see how it would be attacking that pawn, but it's not. So therefore, this doesn't need the d-pawn protection, and I can just take the whole center like this. And I think that white is already better when you manage to do this, because like look at this knight, look at that bishop. They're just kind of boxed in. The idea of like delaying it just a little bit is they would want to play queen b6 to attack the pawn after here, but see now their b pawn is guarding it. Blocking it all in, and now I'm just curling back. This is well guarded, so they don't have much. They can't play queen b6 to accentuate the pressure, and I can play g4 to kick the knight away, and then white has just a very pleasant position. Okay, well, not if they play h5, but that's okay. The problem with their position remains. They have a weak bishop, and now f6 is harder, so I can just say we're playing on the queen side and you're missing the bishop. So that'll be the vision. That'll be my vision. Okay. I can go into g5 at some point with my knight if I want, or play h3, g4, but it doesn't seem like there's any rush. Queen b3, maybe b4, b5 also looks really good. How should I continue the pressure is the question. I want like 94, 95. So I want this to move up. Let's just play like queen d2. The idea is to potentially connect my rooks so I can double on that file. Queen b3 might have been more aggressive. It allows knight a5, knight c4 stuff. So just playing this very, very solid, with pressure down the c-file. Taking advantage again of the fact that they're down a piece. So like the way I see it is that because their g7 bishop, never mind. I was going to make this monologue about the positional aspects, and then I missed that my rook was trapped at the end of this. So it's going to be a little bit more of a swindly game. That's a bummer. I like that rook. That rook was my friend. Okay, I guess I'll play on this side of the board. It's still not, like, weirdly, it's not the end of the world because their position was so bad that I have compensation. I should have had compensation for nothing, but now I have compensation for the exchange. So my opponent's 2,200, so I don't expect this to be super easy at all. The bishop h4 first. So I guess their goal is they're going to try to play f6. I really want to play knight g5. Maybe I can play it. The question is before or after bishop h4. I don't want to let queen b6. So g5 is another option, and just arguing that this knight is totally abysmal. Let's play knight h2. So the goal is a little defense, a little attack. So one, it guards the g4 pawn. Also, after here, I can take, and then whenever they take back with a minor piece, I fork them. The knight on h6 and the thing on f6. And then also later in the game, I can play g5, knight g4, and then jump into the square with good positional pressure. They want to trade queens. Of course they want to trade queens. They're winning. Why would they not want to trade queens? Of course, I do not want to trade queens back. Okay, this is hard. Queen b3 is where I want to play because I want to reroute over here. But I don't want them to play queen c1 and be in my turf. So I'm going to just play here instead. Attack this pawn. This is kind of nice because in certain positions, the queen will eye this knight if this bishop moves. Would love to like trade off these bishops as well, because then the dark sword weaknesses in their camp will begin to show even more. And of course, they want to trade. But again, I do not. Do I? They're offering me a pawn. I do not. Maybe I do. I don't know what I want. This is the more annoying move to face, though, because it asks black what they want to do, which is always a hard question to be asked. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of making sure they can't come in. Play like bishop here. My queen will come follow suit. I just have to worry because there's counterattacks down this file. So I have to make sure my king is safe when I move my queen over. I have 19 seconds. They have a minute. That's not great. So I might need to minimize the commentary. Tricky. Again, the source of like the only reason why I'm not just like resignable dead is because that bishop is so bad there. And they played g6. So even when they trade it off for my bishop, they're going to have dark sword weaknesses. I think. Queen f2. I just want to guard this square in case I want my knight to move, to make sure there's nothing like this. And I want to keep an eye on that pawn so that there's no, so I'm not losing any pawns. Okay, do that, but I'll unpin. Oh, I dropped a pawn in the time pressure. That's a little normal. It gets to be expected. I'll occasionally drop things in time pressure. And let's just develop my minor pieces. This is still stuck. My opponent's getting to time pressure too, so it's hopefully their time to be sloppy back. Okay, take, and as I said, it's their time to be sloppy back. Okay, I will take back with the queen, I think. Okay, I have 4 seconds. So again, I have to be careful. Guarding that pawn. My queen is totally overloaded. Just going to connect my knights so there's less scary things in this world for me to worry about. We'll trade off some of these pieces. I gotta just play checks or else I'll lose material. Oh, they have bishop here. I'm not going to be able to guard that. I'll counter threaten checkmate. Yeah, this is not good for me. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing moves randomly. Try not to lose on time. Okay, we'll go here. Oh, I really want checkmate. Okay, need trickery. Trickery. Guard that pawn. Maybe I should have taken that one. Just kind of more thinking about threatening stuff. Yeah, I'll take it now. Side that pawn. Just keep them honest for now. Get my king closer so the knight can't move. Their pieces are still pretty stuck. Do I want to draw? Maybe I do want to draw. Let's see if they want to draw. Maybe I'll take this knight and play for a win. Okay, I can definitely draw if I take those 2 pawns. I can't take this pawn, or I just... Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I was pushing it a little. Okay, yeah, this is one for me, but doesn't seem like I deserve this, then this, and they play here, and I walk it. So, just in-game trickery. Honestly, when we got into time pressure, the whole game got kind of sloppy, and I just no in-games. In fact, maybe that should be a dominant strategy of my my repertoire is just in-gaming them. Okay, so the bird's opening is after f4, and I'm gonna just kind of like play a typical old Indian against it, and against g3, I need to play e5, so I play here and then here, and I quite like this setup. For black, it feels like you get a pretty good position, and the position can open up. And like already, I like attacking the bishop, eyeing that square, and maybe coming in. I'm playing this way more aggressively than I need to. Still, maybe I'm rattled after the last game. I still feel like I'm behind in material and need to play all these crazy moves when I should just play normal. Okay, what is going on here? What am I doing? Okay, I'll play knight g6. I don't want to play knight takes knight and make their bishop better. Okay. It's not easy to do comebacks against 2200s. I will say that. They are very good players. So I consider myself lucky that I came out of that alive. Okay, so their goal is to play here and then take on f7. And because I have kind of botched this opening a little bit with my aggressive early play, thinking I was down in material still, I need to be careful here. I should be okay, but I do need to be very careful. In fact, I'm thinking my queen should just come back. The guard d8 against knight b5, which is a looming threat. Like if I play queen g6, knight b5, and I'm not sure how I guard this. So the goal here is now, if knight here, I'm going to block with my knight and just like say, I'm sorry for the rambunctiousness of my youth. It was like I was young and crazy, and I had just gotten out of a game where I needed to come back, and now we like just calm down, and I need to go into more in-games and play the calm chess that is characteristic of my style. So we will try to win the bishop pair, and at least push the bishop a little back. We'll castle. Play very normal. Okay, attacking my knight. I should run away because I don't like losing knights. And now I don't want to play d5 because of e5, and then they have a pretty good grip on the position. So c5 is always an option, because if they play d5, it'll weaken this diagonal, and I can kind of take control of it. So that might be an option. Then the other option is to just kind of delay it, play rook e8 and a bunch of normal moves, and then kind of figure out what's happening. Okay, so now c5 will be a little bit weaker, because on d5, bishop f6, this pawn is hanging for a second, but then I have knight there. Maybe I'll play it in a second. Let's play rook e8 first. Because then like c5, d5, bishop f6, hitting the knight, and then when they move it, I have knight e5, which is the goal. So like now c5. And now on d5, I got to get a knight on e5. Be the strategy. And then there, I was going to go here and just attack the pawn. This is isolated. This is isolated. Yeah, potato, potato. We go with got our problems. So then bishop f6. Or maybe, yeah, bishop f6. It's important to play actively in these positions, so I'm going to just keep playing actively. This would lose a piece, because I'd play bishop takes knight, and when they retook, I'd take back. Just wedding. If they took it with the queen first, I could trade queens and then take the knight. They would get the knight back, but then I would win this rook here. So I would win the exchange. So I think d6 is all guarded. And then now the topic switches over there, knowing that it's guarded. I think I have knight takes pawn. Can you guys do the tactics for me? I have a headache. Knight takes pawn. Knight takes pawn. Knight takes knight. And the point is bishop takes rook. Because if they take it back, then I win a whole piece. So I think this works. Like this. And the key is distraction. The rook can retake here or retake here, but it cannot do both at the same time. At least that's what I'm gambling on. Unless the rules have changed. My opponent's rated 2043. So these tactics you have to be careful about. Definitely not a walk in the park. They're taking a deep think. Ooh. Okay, so like, where did the opening? So like, I loved my position after here, and then I got carried away. After d3, the normal plan would have been to just like keep developing like this, or even playing like maybe even e4 if I was playing more aggressively. With a fine position, taking is I think fine, but knight d5 is just like a little wild. Like g6, bishop g7 should have given me a much more even kill game. I just take this. The idea. And then again, the rook takes, which is just a swap. They will have a discovered attack on my rook, but I don't think they have any magicianship. Maybe they do. Maybe they have like knight here. And my rook is like kind of trapped. Well, knight there is not my rook trapped. I can just move my rook. Queen f6 is an interesting intermezzo move, hitting their rook here. The question is, do I want my queen over there? I mean, trading material is not so bad, and the idea is that if they move the rook, then I can maybe check them here. And just trade off, but my rook is going to be trapped there. This is more complicated than I should have made it. Yeah, very complicated. Unfortunately, because I am up in material, I would love for this to be less. Let's play here to block any kind of attacks on the queen, even if I'm kind of self-pinning in the process. And more importantly, just guarding that e8 square with my rook to make sure they can't checkmate me. Okay, I think this is forced. Ooh, here, and then they sack, and then they got me. Very tricky. Okay, let's play here and hope they trade off a bunch of pieces. Tired of being harassed. I'm tired of being harassed. Okay, now that they don't have the bishop pair, I'm feeling much more comfortable. I think I got the game on the go. Let's play like queen here and okay, rook attack. We'll go here. Attack that pawn. Could have played check. I don't really know what accomplishes. I kind of like that the queen is pinned. If the bishop moves, yeah, I can just trade queens. And trading queens is very pleasant. I can win exchange up and a pawn. So this is easy peasy. You just move on the light squares and they can't block. Yep, and so they resign. Okay, a good game by my opponent. Let me cancel the rematch and just see where we were in the opening. So in the opening, this is a tiny bit better for black, like equal-ish. He takes f4 is fine. And then knight d5 is like getting carried away. It's still slight edge. It's only slight edge, but they like just c6 and eventually d5, and white will have an isolated pawn whenever they play e4, and that should have led to a little teeny pull for black. So should have done that. Anyway, Old Indian time. Or Trompowsky time. I was wrong. They Trompowski'd me. Okay, so the goal of the Trompowsky is we're going to still play the Old Indian. We're just going to like unpin ourselves first and then play like d6. And I like h6 really early in these positions. And then I like e5. And then it kind of, it reminds me of a Philidor defense where you get the pawn here and then you have here. And the bishop really doesn't belong here in the Philidor defense, so it feels like a good Philidor. They've gained a tempo is their upside, but the tempo will never be able to reverse the bishop being where it is. So, fine. Okay, this attack is kind of annoying. Okay, this is complicated. So knight there, bishop here, queen here. I'm guarding the pawn, but there's an attack against the knight. So maybe they can sack, and then I take back. And yeah, okay. So it seems like it's okay, the tactics. My opponent's 20.95, so I'm sure they'll calculate it. But like, I think, so their bishop is hanging. So I think they have to trade. The reason I went knight h5 is because if they try to retreat, I'm just going to snap it off. And then I can guard the pawn that way. And I was thinking, like, after bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop. Hopefully you can follow this. In fact, let's look at it. If bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop, knight takes pawn, hitting the knight, but then knight takes knight. And then the idea is if they take the knight, then I play knight takes knight, bishop takes, and then queen check, hitting the king and the bishop, and then I regain the material. So that's why in my head they couldn't do it. I don't have a computer, but I didn't think they could do it. So we'll play bishop f6 here. And, black has the two bishops. The structure's a little damaged, but they have a nice file. So they're going to probably castle queenside and make this exciting, which I would do that too, because if you've castled this way, it makes sense that you're going to go that way. And now I can, like, oblige them by castling kingside and having some fun, or I can castle queenside myself and make them not have fun. Given that I like it when they don't have fun, like, let's... Actually, I can just remove the knight and decide that later. So let's play knight here. And I'm hoping that they take and then let me come in. Okay, they're not. And then they're going to come in here. So I got to guard those squares. So I'm going to play c6. This is the scary square because I can take off any knight that gets there. And then we will play this here. And they're going all in, but I'm going to castle queenside on them. And not entertain any kind of craziness. So when you castle opposite wings, it's like crazy. If they castle one way and you castle the other, they open files, fireworks on the board. And that's not really what I want here. I have the two bishops. I have like a pleasant edge. And the only advantage they have is this open H file, which would be great if I was castled over here. But if I'm not, then the doubled pawns are probably more annoying than anything else. Well, which I'm going to undouble them right now because I'm not going to let a knight live there. I don't think it would have been the end of the world if I let a knight live there. But still, no thank you. So play... I'm going to play g6, but they take the h pawn is the problem. So let's play h5. And then maybe g6 to just kind of fight back on this side of the board. No, the position looks about equal to me. Maybe I shouldn't have taken them because I lost my bishop pair. I lost their doubled pawns. I mean, they solved a lot of their problems with that exchange. Okay. So they're coming here. I think I'm okay with that. This queen is kind of weird over there. I don't know what it's doing. Let's continue to just push that pawn. I like to just gain space. Like my rook can maybe come out later in the game. And it stops them from being able to push. So it's kind of an annoying move. If they push, then I continue lurking, or I trade it away and open up a file for myself as well. Okay, so I guess they're going to c5 with the knight. Is some kind of vision. I don't think they get really an attack. Maybe they're just an attacking player and they just want to attack no matter what I'm doing with my pieces. It looks like it. Okay. The one thing I don't like is my bishop. Like, I don't really know the function of the bishop here. Like, coming out here looks strong, except there's nothing over here. So it makes sense that the bishop would actually come back this way. So I'm going to fix my bishop. The nice thing about the bishop is it's guarding this pawn. Knight h4. Does that do anything? And why not? See where it goes. My knight's just not very good here anyway, so I don't really... It's not making it better, but it's not making it worse. It's just already bad. Okay, I'll go back. I'm sorry. I've made a mistake. Now I've lured you onto a bishop attacking diagonal. I'll pretend that this is all justified. If they go back, I'll probably do a different move. Try something else for a little bit. They have knight c5. The problem is they'll give me this square for the rook, and then they'll interpin, so it's very hard for them to make too much progress. And I'm very solid here. You know, both sides are solid. I have 38 seconds, so maybe my goal should just be to not lose on time and just continue playing solid moves until they make some kind of error and try to force the position. So that is probably not the error I am looking for. Let's play bishop here. Just attacking the queen. And let's... I don't know. Like, my vision is to, like, trade these knights, but I don't know. Their knight's so bad, too, that it's hard to tell whether I want to actually trade that. Okay, let's just play normal moves. If they're an aggressive player, let's trade off some rooks, right? Don't let them checkmate me. Make them sadder about the state of the game. They might be a weak in-game player and be all tactics or something. Okay, so now I want to control this one open file in the game. It's looking pretty even, but I like my chances. I know in-games pretty well, and many players struggle with them. Let's play bishop here to retake. Just kind of glower in the position with my bishop. This is a nice looking bishop. I'm very proud of my bishop. Okay. So they want to come in. Possibly. Let's guard this square. My knight could be better, but like let's just box in this knight from any key squares. Like, no, you don't. You don't touch that. Okay, so attacking this pawn makes a lot of sense. Let's attack back though. Who can play at that game? Oh, they have this bishop takes pawn because that would have been checkmate if I had taken back. So they missed a quick tactic. Okay, 4 seconds. I'm gonna just make random moves back and forth so that I don't lose on time. Just like reconfigure my pieces, gain a little on the increment, and then go do something when I'm at a happier, more consolidated time space in my life. Guard the pawn, guard the entrance. I think this works. Complicated. Just making it complicated and time pressure is sometimes good. Check. Check. Really? No? Okay. And it was on time. I guess I'm winning on the board, but with the time pressure, it was pretty crazy. It was a pretty even game. Hands off to my opponent. Very easy game. Not easy game. Very even game the whole way through, and I thought they did a great job. So, like at 21.72, I'm up to 21.10. When I get to like 21.50, I think I'll stop. The perk defense. I don't want to play the perk. Let's play the King's Indian. Okay. King's Indian defense. Sorry, it's not an Old Indian, but it's hard to do it as white all the time against like the perk. So I'll just do this. Okay, so this is like the main line. This is Gowan Jones's recommendation and his King's Indian defense lifetime repertoires. Gowan Jones, if you don't know, is a super grandmaster. And I think the right move is bishop e3 here. This is a sideline. Knight c6 is more typical. Okay, so their goal with this move is to put a knight on c5, either by taking later or by having me push. So I don't want to push right away, like queen c2. Now, the thing about it, if they take, it's better if I've played h3 for them, because when I play f3, there's going to be holes. So I'm going to like try to hold off on the move h3 and wait for c6. And once I see c6, now I'll push. Because if they play like knight c5, I can trade off and then come down this d file at their queen, and this backward pawn becomes annoying. And if they have to push c5, it's also annoying because that's where they want their knight. So, okay, so can they take, and then they got a pin on my queen. So let's play rook c1 to just make sure that at the end of this I can take back the c pawn and not worry about my queen hanging. And again, the same thing. I'm in no rush to play takes. Okay, they're attacking this. I don't want to give them that. Where do I hide? Where do I hide? Let's hide on d2. Okay, the knight looks very pretty there. I'm going to have to ask this knight to leave. I'm not worried about them exchanging in the center anymore. And then I'm going to come back here. I'm guarding this just fine. Just so you know, I will not take off this knight because I love this bishop. But what I will do is play tactics like this, luring the pawn away from the knight, and not losing my bishop in the process, because this is your good bishop when all your pawns are on light squares in these queen pawn openings, in case you're wanting to learn queen pawn openings in addition to the old Indian stuff. So I think here I didn't really count on this move. It looked like I was gaining a piece after it, but I could have been wrong, because after knight takes knight, yeah, okay, I guess my opponent agrees. Yeah. After like, if they had played like knight takes knight, trying to keep doing it, this comes with check. So after bishop takes, like I take back, and you can see I have 2 minor pieces. They have 1, so the game would be over, and they're resigning. So we move on up. I'm 21-19, playing against 1953. Let's play. Man, I'm getting a lot of white games. I'm sorry, guys. I kept hoping for an old Indian, but I'm getting white all the time. So we're going to play another King's Indian defense, apparently. That's what all the rage is at this level. I'm going to play the classical setup, what I usually play, put a bishop on e2. This is interesting. So I think the idea here is to like install some piece here. They'll play like knight c6, e5, c5, and like dominate the dark squares. I'm going to just play here and not allow that trade. And that was my bad bishop, so I'm perfectly happy to trade my bad bishop for that. And then now I'm going to just develop normally. And see, they don't have as much of a dark square to attack on that now that I have. I have my posse. This is not a bishop. If this was the bishop, then I wouldn't be able to defend this, but as it is, I can. And okay, so they are getting compensation with f5, but I think without the bishops on the board, these attacks are really abysmal for black. They really like this light squared bishop because they need to sacrifice at the end of this pawn storm. And this is usually really bad. You can kind of see the pawns are blocking it in. If only they were an old Indian player and had the bishop here, they could play bishop g5 and trade it off. You see, this is the advantage of the old Indian. Regrets. So I'll play g4. My goal is usually to play c5, open up a c file, attack on the queen side where I have more space. Their bishop is obviously doing nothing on that side of the board. And so that's generally the plan. And then we're going to retreat our bishop here. And I'm not really used to these structures with my knight here and the bishop's off the board. So I know that they're good for white, but I don't know why always. So I'll have to excuse me if I misplay it. I'm not used to being allowed this. Let's play a4. My goal is to play a5 and just weaken the king side, queen side position. My bishop's going to kind of look in. My knight can jump in. We're just going to kind of play off all these squares. This is a good move. I'm going to play here because my goal is to just open things up. Okay. And the same thing. I'm going to move my knight in, and then I'm going to kick away the rook and then play a5. The knight here is kind of annoying because now the queen has to babysit that pawn. And if this pawn ever moves, then this pawn falls. So that's why it's kind of cool. And it also gets out of the way of my bishop so I can do this attack. Another idea would be to be like knight c3, knight b3 here. I do want to make some progress over there. And so let's keep moving on that side of the board. Keep moving on that side of the board. Keep moving on that side of the board. Okay. I'm not able to say keep moving on that side of the board. No, I don't know what I'm going to say. Okay. Let's play queen b3. I worry a little moving the queen away from the king side in these positions, but the threat of knight takes pawn, bishop takes knight is pretty solid, and it forces them to play more on the queen side, which is not where they like. Look how bad this bishop's going to be if we end up in this like in-game queen side play type of position. I mean, that bishop is so abysmal that they're basically forced to make some kind of attacking play. The problem is, like, even if they play here, and I put a pawn here, it's very difficult to like break that because they don't have their light squared bishop to sack and get a bunch of play against me. So I think just here. And then here. And we're just going to keep trading the minor pieces, make this a no drama affair. And I've won my first pawn, but the thing is not about the pawn, it's about the position. I can't take back with the queen or my c4 pawn falls, so I have to go here. A little bit of a concession. I'll play here. I like that their queen is over here. It means they're not attacking me. I'm going to unpin my bishop. And I'm going to continue to like lurk on the queen side. c5 is a move I have to be a little worried about because right now their bishop is so bad, and that would undo their badness, but this connected pass pawn would be very hard for them. So they're in a very tricky position already. Yeah, and I already have 2 minutes on my clock. The other thing is, like, this is obviously my opponent is super uncomfortable in this position because it's a very difficult position. So their time pressure is probably not going to get better anytime soon. And I'm going to continue to be very quick. Like, if I allow them like lots of time, then eventually they will have something over on that side of the board. I want them to play, let's just trade everything. Trade everything. Play c6. The goal is to trade here. Yeah, and this is over. Look at that knight, that bishop. I mean, I just play like rook here. And then next here, and it's over. My knight could get in the game, but yeah, it's just over. Okay. So now I'm 21-23, moving on up. I'm playing black. Good news, guys. I finally got a good game. Let's just hope there's no more like birds opening or stuff. Okay, we'll play a Philidor. Weird G3 stuff. I'm getting like just weird games all game. So against this, basically, they can either play D4 like a normal person, or I'm going to play D5. So, okay, they're playing it like a normal person. That's good. Okay, I'm defending this. I don't really even need to, I didn't even need to really rush knight BD7. I'm going to get off A5. Play bishop A6. So the goal here is, okay, they're obviously pushing up the middle. You can usually ignore those threats. Their goal is to like squeeze you to death with like G4, knight G3, and then like slowly these just crawl. They don't really attack because the bishop can't attack here, but they do squeeze. That's their goal. So my goal was to trade off this bishop. And instead, we get another type of situation. Ooh, I was thinking that this would be fine because I had knight C5, but I missed knight F5. So now the attack here and on knight F5 is very annoying. So I probably shouldn't have rushed to take so fast. White's probably a little better. Go play rook E8. Yeah, it's important not to allow this. Usually my bishop's on C8, I can just whack it off, which is what I normally do. But here I forgot the bishop's over on A6, and G6 wouldn't have been a bad move too. It just didn't have the tempo for it because C6 was threatened there. So I had to run to the assistance. If I were them, I would have taken off that bishop in a second because I am very happy now that my bishop has escaped and I'm going to be able to play G6. And then that knight getting out, get out, knight. So knight C5 is another idea, attacking this pawn. This is the weakness of F4, is that they can't defend diagonal. And I think I'm ready to play it. Maybe G6 first. Yeah, why not G6 first? My bishop will be happy if it lives there, but no rush. It's doing a great job of defending this D6 pawn. And then we will just attack. Look at that. Look at that counterattack. It's starting to look good. Okay, 1, 2, 3 to 1, 2, 3. Even for now. Okay. How do I... Okay, so one idea sometimes is H5 in these positions, but my bishop is just doing absolutely nothing. So maybe bishop B7. Defend this, eye this in the future. Maybe there'll be something. Maybe there'll be something. A4 is another idea, just kind of opening up the rook. And of course, doubling is always a good move too. Okay, but didn't they just lose a pawn? I know they have a discovered attack against it at the end of this, but I don't see anything with the discovered attack. It's like, okay, we take here. If they move this knight, then they have something, but they can't. They can take this if this knight was gone. So they get to move this anywhere for free, and they'll have an attack. But there's just nowhere to move it. Like if they go here, I just take, you know. So it looks like they're just losing a pawn. Okay, this is kind of a legitimate move, it seems, but it drops another pawn, so it's also super scary for them. Bishop G7 would have been the safer way to do this, but I like this move because I can come back to F5 and then guard G7 here. And now I'm up 2 pawns. My opponent's 2,000 though, so I expect a fight, unfortunately. I don't think they'll roll over. It'll still be a game after this point. What to suggest? Okay. I don't know if I was them to play queen here or something. Maybe, I mean, they got to stop knight here as well. Okay. That move also seems legitimate. Like, seems scary enough that it annoys me, and play H6. Where's the knight going? Play knight F5, actually. I like this idea of just like attacking this bishop. And a pretty good play. It also guards the bishop to going to G7. And if this bishop retreats here, then I have knight E3, taking off this good bishop, and then their king is very exposed to an attack, and probably have a winning attack after C6. Yep. Okay, so they agree. And they're in trouble. Yep. And the computer says black is up a piece. So, yeah, it's looking abysmal. Okay. 21-29. I'm getting kind of tired, guys. Let's just do one more, and then we'll call it a night. So, I'm sorry. Let's hope it's an Old Indian or a Philidor. Okay. We got Philidor. This is more classic. We're playing against 2162. So, a decent player. Knight F3 is the right move. Say they play the main line. This is not a very good move for them. They have some legit follow-ups, but this is one of the legit follow-ups. And these double pawns look bad, but they're actually pretty good. I don't know what that move is doing. Yeah, I can't comment on that move. Because the reason they might not look good. Okay, I admit they look pretty ugly, but the point is this last pawn is hard to attack, and no knight can come in because it's just blocking it. So in the meantime, these pawns, we kind of create a wall, like a force field. And I don't want to allow here, kind of breaking my wall. So I'm going to play A6. And then I can play here. And then these rooks come over. And then I queenside pawn storm. And it's fun. And these pawns are just defensive. And they're hard to attack. Like, if you think, like, how can a knight attack this? It's just like here. No, they're not going to get there. Here. Well, that's hard to go. I mean, wow, knight here, knight here, knight here. But even then, that's only one attack. They need to attack it twice to eat it. So these positions often very tricky to play for white, and they often feel good because they've doubled their pawns, so they're going to feel like super excited, despite the fact that the position is not super easy to play for white. I think like usually black wins something like 70% of the time or something like these in these positions. It's like an optical illusion. That's what's cool about the Philidor. You get this optical illusion effect. Okay, so I think I can just press and then press, and then we'll just target this pawn. See if they make a weakness. And then I will continue to press. I guess knight b6, knight c5 are an idea. So they're going to push, but I don't know what it does. So let's continue to play knight c5. My goal is to be able to put the other knight here so that everything I can go all in on the queen side. Okay. It's looking scary over there. They're doing things over there. I don't know exactly what, but it looks, you know, it's effective at being intimidating looking. Okay, I'll just come over here. Now my goal is to close it up. So they go here, I go here. And they go here, I go here. I just want to lock this jaw, like a jaw, so that I can focus on what I'm doing over here. This is just a distraction for me. And I don't want this rook to have anywhere to go to like attack my king in moments like this. Okay, so now like there are chances of like sacrificing there, but we don't need to. We just play, continue to open up files for my rook against the enemy white king in this kind of race. They could check me. I'll just back up to e8. F8 would have been fine too, but the F file is more likely to open up, and I want to guard this knight just in case my knight wants to leave somewhere, and I don't have any like way down the line tactics on d7. I think it should just take this. There's a check, but I'm not sure what the check does much. So my now goal is to attack that c4 pawn. That's the goal. Take c4 out. And notice, like, it's hard for them to just guard it with both the rooks. You see how, like, their king is in the way, and it's awkward, and there are, like, tactics. Like rook d2 guarding it. Rook there's checkmate. So it's like this little Gordian knot of, like, it looks so simple to defend c4, but it's not. It's actually quite tricky. We'll continue attacking it. It's a legitimate move. Trying to come in. I think my attack's like petering down to its like lowest levels. Okay, no, you can't come into a8, rook. We'll stop that. Stop that tomfoolery and also be a little aggressive. Am I playing it, defensively or aggressively? The answer is yes. Playing a little both here. Now, these positions, I do feel like, if you put it on the computer, white is holding. Like, if white plays a perfect game, I'm going to have to accept the draw. But it's just very annoying to play this as white compared to black. Like, I have an attack, and they don't have, like, if you look at all their things, they don't really have an attack anywhere on the board right now. And so it's just harder for them to play. Okay. Okay, my rook's going to have to say, come back here or something. Now let's go here. I like this move because it preserves the option of knight a4 check. There's a worry that this bishop is overextended, but they'd have to sack here for that to happen. And now I'm going to play here. And the goal is to just close off this rook and continue with aggressive play against the enemy king. Hope that it leads to the winning of a pawn. This is a little scary because they can go after this g7 pawn. So I have to be... I don't know if the tactics work, but that looks scary, right? Oh, but that loser works. That is checkmate.